Why'd you pick Purdue?
Bailey Weathers is actually a big part of that. I sat down with him my junior summer going into my senior year, and kind of talked about Bailey's super connected in the college coaching circle as well. I mean, any coaching circle, but and Purdue was one of the ones he threw out. I mean, I grew up a Buckeye, like a diehard Buckeye. So a Buckeye in Ann Arbor too, nonetheless. So I had wanted to go to Ohio State since I was like 2. And one of the coaches Bailey said he thought I would mesh well with was Dan Ross. If you know anything about Dan, I mean, he swam at Purdue. He's a grad assistant at Purdue. He's been the head coach for 30 plus years now. Great guy. Just a great dude.
So you're saying he's Purdue?
He is. I mean, when you think of Purdue swimming, like, it's Dan Ross. That is Purdue swimming. I mean, he built that program from when they were swimming in the basement of Lambert to the multi-million-dollar facility they have now. It's crazy. But I ended up taking a recruit. Purdue was actually my last recruiting trip. I was going to take Auburn, and ended up taking Purdue instead. And then one of the other driving factors was they have one of the top aviation programs in the country, and that's what I wanted to do. And then being able to swim in the Big Ten. And
is that what kind of eliminated Ohio State? Was what you wanted to pursue? How did that play out?
Ohio State has an aviation program as well, a professional pilot program. It's not quite as good as Purdue's. I mean, it's a good program, but Purdue's is like pretty elite in the country. And the scholarship opportunity I got from Purdue was better than the one Ohio State was offering me. And I honestly, when I picked Purdue, I was kind of upset. I was pretty bummed I wasn't going to Ohio State. But looking back on it, like, somebody was looking out for me, because that is, going to Purdue is one of the best decisions I ever made.
So before we get to your swimming career, I think the natural question here then, and really probably the most important question I'm going to ask this whole interview, is 2018 Ohio State Purdue. Who are you cheering for?
Oh man, I was at that game. My dad, he got his PhD from Ohio State, so he's also a huge Buckeye. He was at that game, and my mom was as well. I had Purdue stuff on. I was cheering for Purdue all the way, man. But that was, talk about being torn. I was,
when Rondale spins out of the tackle, I lost my mind. Like, I'm, as a Big Ten Network producer, I'm just watching this game, and it's a big deal anytime Ohio State's on the field and potentially going to lose, because it has conference, national ramifications. So everybody's watching this game. It's a prime time. And when Rondale spins out of that tackle, it's over, right? And that was the moment you knew this is happening.
That's weight room right there. I mean, the kid, he squats, like 700, 800 pounds. He just bodied that guy. And I mean, that was the craziest. I mean, I went to the other craziest game I've been to was Michigan Notre Dame, the first time they played under the lights of the Big House in 20 years or whatever. But I think this one was bigger. I mean,
I was at that game, 2011, Denard Robinson, 85 yards in 30 seconds.
Shoelace, baby. Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, it was cold that day, and like rainy too, kind of when Purdue was playing Ohio State, and Ohio State's down by 21 or 28, whatever they were down by. My dad was just miserable.
Well, this should be clipped off and played as like a Purdue infomercial, because if they could bring a guy like you onto campus and make him bleed black and gold to the extent that he could cheer against his beloved Buckeyes, and he dreamed about.
I was that little kid who I'd wear my Ohio State jersey when we would go to the Michigan spring game. I mean, we lived 15 minutes from the stadium. I'm an 11-year-old getting yelled at by all these college.
You're that guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. So for me to cheer for Purdue in that game was,
That was when you knew you'd arrived as a Boilermaker, right?
That's when I knew, that's when I said, all right, I think I made the right decision here, for multiple reasons, but that was.
So let's jump back to what you said right before we started clowning here. You said, that's the best decision I ever made, no regrets. Tell me why.
I didn't have the swimming career in college that I wanted to. Mainly, I got injured my freshman year. I had 2 stress fractures in my lower back, and kind of after that, I still swam all right, but definitely wasn't what I thought I was heading for. And the team at Purdue, the coaches at Purdue, the education I got, I have 0 regrets. Some of the teams I was a part of there, we put down some fast swims. We got 3rd at Big Tens or 4th at Big Tens behind Ohio State, Michigan, and IU in the Big Ten. That's pretty it's pretty good, right? Those are some powerhouses in the nationally, but I think I kind of realized, it's, you're not going to swim forever. There's stuff past swimming, and professionally, Purdue was one of the best things I've ever done. The aviation program there is very highly ranked, and then just the friends I made there. 2 guys from my class, Austin Flagger and Matt Quinlan, were my wedding this past weekend, and just some of the friendships I formed there that are, lifelong friends. So no regrets.
Sounds like it. Sounds great. When you look back at your career, is that injury the biggest setback? Is there anything else that kind of fits in that category of setbacks or things that you kind of had to overcome during your career?
That was kind of the biggest. Up until high school, up until college, my career was pretty. There was no real roadblocks. I'm super thankful for that. I always swam. Club Wolverine, one of the top clubs in the country. And it's 10 minutes from my house. One of the best high school groups you could swim with. My parents always got me to practice. Always, whatever I needed to swim at that level is what they gave me. And then that's in college, I swam okay in college. It's looking back on it, it's obviously disappointing, with times how they ended up, but that injury my freshman year was kind of probably the biggest setback I had, and
sure.
Yeah. So
we've talked about your favorite race. We've talked about your favorite meet, talked about one of your favorite teams, talked about your college decision and, no regrets and some of those things. We talked about some of your biggest coaching influences and the people that you really kind of, appreciate in that journey. Is there anything that kind of stands out that we haven't talked about? You've done a great job of kind of answering my questions, and I've kind of directed you in places. But when you look back at your swimming career, is there anything that's really just kind of pivotal in your story that we haven't had a chance to talk about?
I think our medley relay where we broke the national record my senior year was that was also one of my favorite swimming moments ever, just because it was kind of a culmination of me, David, and Adam swimming together since we were little, and Michael becoming a part of that, and it was cool to do it as a team. It was cool to go it would have been cool to go 2 100s faster, but it was still cool to go that fast. And we actually, this is another thing that just kind of speaks to the team mentality is David and Michael, Michael and Adam actually switched places on the relay from prelims to finals. They switched fly and free, and that was just, that was a really cool race, and it was cool to be able to do something like that on a relay with those guys.
What led to that change?
I think Todd was just like, hey, I think we can go a little bit faster I think Adam swam free in finals, and Michael swam fly. And I think Todd was just like, I think Adam can go like 19 low or something like that if we put him on the end. I think he did. I went a little bit slower, but I went like 0.1 slower or something like that. But I think we ended up going like a few tenths faster. It was super cool.